This is the GJRB Online Network. The following is a GJRB podcast presentation. Now, GJRB presents The Last 7 Days. In this time of lawlessness and utter chaos, there's a program that puts it all into perspective. This is the program where men and women gather to discuss current events and how it lines up with Bible prophecy. And now, The Last 7 Days.
Married to Satan, married to the Antichrist government, and so I thought that was interesting to note because it's married to something, and I think it's married to the one world government. So I think the false prophet is married, so to speak, to the Antichrist. I wouldn't even rule it out that it actually is, but it's married to at least purpose and goals of the Antichrist. So the Antichrist, the false prophet will have the mark of the Antichrist, I believe, on the head of the
station. This is cool FM.
In that religious
I just love that station.
So there's a real connection. But I think that if the Antichrist is an Islamic person, it will be a very, what we would consider a liberal Islamic person. Somebody from the Sunnis.
Like the Pope is,
Now, is the Pope shaking hands with the Sunnis or the other type of?
Sunnis. The Shiites don't have nothing to do with the Pope.
I was going to get you today.
This is for you, but that's fine.
Where is he?
wonderful.
Around here?
Yeah, that's right.
I haven't seen him.
We haven't seen him either. I called him, knock on his door.
Who's that?
He's falling off
Steve
the edge.
Smith.
Yeah, I saw him the other day, not too long ago. But I was at Prairie Hills, but I was driving somebody.
So long.
Well, I was driving somebody to one of their appointments, and he was downtown by the driver's license place.
I'll see him in about 2 months.
Yeah. I haven't even seen him walking around.
Who's that?
Here you come. I haven't even seen him.
What'd you do, get an extra one?
Yeah, it was supposed to be for you, but I thought you were going to come on back here, but
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Sweden's having quite a time. The Swedish government decides that they need to promote LGBT community literature, and so all the Muslims are pulling out of schools. Now the UPS has stopped delivering to Muslim no-go zones in Sweden. So the religion of peace, UPS is afraid that they're going to be attacked. And robbed.
Oh, hey, Ron, before we get too far, I don't know if everybody heard the story about the photographer. No, it was the baker. It was the baker. The guy.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, it's all been cleared. No more courts.
Yeah.
Yesterday
he won.
They dropped everything.
What happened was
Finally won.
They won in Supreme Court, and then they retried him again, and they actually just dropped it. The state of Colorado dropped it. That's how he won.
You shouldn't be
The
told.
Supreme Court kicked it back to the state to solve it.
Right.
Shouldn't be told.
Yeah, they just dropped it.
Imagine that.
We get too much heat, probably. But that's a major victory.
Originally, it wasn't a court case. It was the Human Rights Society or something like that, whatever they call it.
Yeah, they stepped out of bounds, basically. Shot their own foot.
Okay, new book coming out. Jesus Freak. Now, which is kind of weird because that's also the title of, I think, Jesus Freaks. It's like Fox's Book of Martyrs type of thing. Well, this Jesus Freak is a stone cold killer.
Wow. Okay.
It's called Jesus Freak, Stone Cold Killer Jesus.
Novel.
Yeah, novel.
Which is a song by DC Talk.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
Album.
DC should be allowed to talk. Let me be incorrect. Oh, that.
And of course, I mentioned this story before, but ancient Japanese shrine debuts its Buddhist robot.
Love.
So it's up and going.
So a Buddhist robot. Oh, weird.
Buddhist robot.
And you notice it's a woman?
Does it say which city that is?
Yeah, it is in Kato, Japan.
Well, they have one in Saudi Arabia and they have one in Idaho. So
Just curious, because the one in
they have now U.S. citizen
Quite well
robot
known.
named Idaho citizen.
So,
Well, that's true. They have one in Idaho and one in Saudi Arabia. Both are declared citizens of their respective places.
so it's the world's first Satra chanting android deity.
Okay.
It is modeled after Canon, the Buddhist goddess of mercy,
All you got to do is unplug them.
and was introduced. But then your mercy goes.
That's good, Betty.
But then you don't
That's
get no
good.
mercy.
Plug 'em.
Like
you
lost
don't
of
get no
space,
mercy
full of
that
power
way.
pack.
Let the battery run.
You gotta keep them going so you get the mercy.
It'd be different. You won't be the bunny that does all the,
Be like the
Everybody-
robot on Lost in Space. You pull his power pack.
Or you pull his power pack and he still moves. Then you're really in trouble.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Then you open him up and take everything out.
And then he's still, whoa!
Well, it isn't Bob made, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, Dan was getting an extra
Just
one for me.
unplug them.
This android deity costs $909,090.
Whoa!
Almost $1 million. They say that the android deity isn't a normal experience for the Japanese and is still an alien concept. But Japanese people don't carry the stereotype thinking when it comes to robots and don't hold any prejudices. They just think, what's happened here, and then just accept it.
Chris Harikari.
How long is his battery power?
Well, it gives a
Battery power pack.
It gives a 25-minute pre-programmed sermon is based on a deeply philosophical religious text called the Heart Sutra. So it gives 25-minute sermons.
And then it shuts off.
No. It says the meaning behind the important text is barely understood by anyone.
Be a lithium
even
ion
monks.
battery or something.
Well, they can put it on nuclear power and you're on there that's what they do ships with. They go for days.
Just tear that thing off of him.
He commits Hari. I wonder how they commit Hari.
Take it off his head.
Now,
The head still talks.
what?
You don't understand the message that he gives.
No, well, they said that the Heart Sutra, nobody really understands what it means. They says the monks are the same way. Interesting here. So we have a robot, an AI, that is a deity. But what else is it doing? Remember we talked about this?
Getting married? What?
No, it's actually projecting itself.
Oh, in other words, it's broadcasting itself all over the country.
Yeah, other places. The project has adopted for the first time an interactive 3D projection mapping where visitors in the room are projected in 3D through an omnidirectional projector.
Wonderful.
On the wall behind the Mindar, that's what this is, a projected pre-programmed person asks the android questions about the Heart Santra text. Mindar answers in simple and plain Japanese with English and Chinese subtitles displayed on the wall.
Well, you know,
So not only do we have an AI deity, but the AI deity is also interreacting with other people, and that's being projected out.
Astral projection.
How far are we away from the Antichrist having it?
Astral projection actually is out of body experience.
Is this like going to the MediaCom? Once you get the number, then the Antichrist image will be projected into your house.
Just remember, guys, nothing can go wrong. Go wrong.
So, yeah.
She wanted to bring Harry back. He can do the baseball game.
Yeah, what's that thing they had what's that thing that has teleportation or something like that? They can project.
But it was like more like a TV set.
Sure, they can bring Harry back from the dead. He can do the baseball
Well,
game.
they probably just got this in embryo stage now, but before much longer they'll be
Holy cow!
Elvis Presley back and half the, they're doing that now.
Dan, how about Harry Carey? Holy cow!
What if it's in India?
Why are globalists so obsessed with artificial intelligence?
Just intelligence.
because they're not intelligent.
You're right, Marty.
I like what Brian said.
What's that?
Because they don't have any of their own.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's like Frank Burns on MASH.
Hey, that's a very intelligent.
It's like Frank Burns on MASH. There wasn't Frank Burns. It was Colonel Flagg. He said intelligence. I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah. Well, if it's Colonel Flagg, it's probably half mast. Anyway, it's probably half mast.
A couple of things that globalists like about AI is that it has centralized technology. It's the holy grail in centralized technology. It's a way to centralize all technology in the world. Main source of development for the AI has long been DARPA. Military and globalist think tanks dump billions of dollars in technology, making AI the underlying focus of most of DARPA's work. And then also I saw here in my recent article, Luciferianism, a secular look at a destructive belief system. I outlined the root philosophy behind the globalist cult. The primary tenet of Luciferianism is the idea or delusion that certain special people have the ability to become gods. But there are some consequences to this belief that I did not explore in that article. First, in order to become a god, you would have to have a total observation power, meaning that you would have to be able to see all and know all. Such a goal is foolish because observing everything does not necessarily mean a person knows everything. Total observation would require total objectivity. Bias blinds people to the truth right in front of their faces all the time. The globalists are some of the most biased and elitist people on the planet. Complete objectivity observation is impossible, at least for humans, in algorithms they program. From physics to psychology, the observer always affects the observed and vice versa. He said, I think the globalists don't really care about reality. It is enough for them to pretend that they are gods through mass surveillance. They aren't actually interested in attaining godlike enlightenment or objectivity.
Yeah, neighborhood of make-believe.
They just want to control people. Number two, to become a god in a mythical or biblical sense, one would require to create intelligent life from nothing. And of course, they haven't been able to do that only through artificial intelligence.
Well, can't they level up with Michael
And now they have
limit trying to figure out what God's all about.
now they have AI artwork, and it's selling for as much as $400,000. And here's the prize right here, and it looks
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying that
How was it around with
they're
Muhammad Ali?
creating
That looks like a little picture from the
AI
1800s or
instead of
something.
human
It's
artists.
artwork.
Yeah, that's his artwork.
Looks like something from the 1800s, doesn't it?
Well, except it looks like it's out
I mean,
of
it
focus
does.
and a little scary.
It is a little scary.
A lot scary.
That picture went around with Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
It looks like
But
it
it-
needs to go a little further.
$400,000.
I want to pay that much.
I wouldn't pay a nickel
Do
for
they
it.
realize that
You
they're
haven't
just
seen that
assembling
one?
pixels together? It's the same thing as taking a picture.
If I had that kind of money, I would use it
Yeah.
for bills.
I would use it for good.
Hey, somebody puts a
Some kind of
tic-tac-toe, raises the price.
Some kind of good.
I have a large amount of money. I'm going to want to go down to Florida.
You want to go to Florida?
Yeah.
You don't like it here?
I don't like cold weather.
Me neither.
The Girl Scout,
Well,
the Girl Scout
If
cookies
you
are
head
out.
down there now, it's
Amy's
going to
in
get hot.
Amy's in Arizona.
The
I don't
Girl
care.
Scout cookies are out.
Amy,
Girl Scouts
Case
gives
sister.
highest award to girls who organize pro-abortion campaign.
She moved down there. She's just down there visiting.
What?
did he go with her?
As Girl Scout cookie season comes to a close, parents should be aware that the organization does not exactly have family-friendly values at the heart. Though the organization's ties to abortion conglomerate Planned Parenthood have been known for years, the Girl Scouts of America have yet to be so forthright about their closeted support for abortion. Until now. According to Life News, the group's GirlScoutCouncil.com has been monitoring the organization for years over its pro-abortion stance. Discovered last Friday that the Girl Scouts of Southern Arizona honored a girl for her voluntary work on reproductive health justice. Megan Goshalan, recently profiled in Tucson publication, received a gold award, the Girl Scouts' highest honor for her work on reproductive health justice. Her project involved working with pro-abortion women's marches and its affiliate in Tucson. She said her goal was to educate people about the decriminalized access to women's health care, which is a euphemism for abortion.
Imagine that.
So, Girl Scout got the highest award for her work with Planned Parenthood.
I saw a picture of a Boy Scout group on
Every one of them was a girl.
Facebook, a Boy Scout group. There was not one boy in the Boy Scout group.
That's what they're saying.
It was all girls.
But remember, they've changed the name. It's not Boy Scouts anymore. It's just Scouts America.
Yeah.
Scouts of America.
Yeah, so they changed it to
All
Scouts of
women.
America.
And now our friends, and now our Democratic friends.
Well, they had some guy here the other day in the track meet. He was in a girls' track meet.
Democratic friends, you mean comrades?
They're doing a lot of things.
Okay, first of all, on March 5th, to commemorate a day set aside for pro-LGBT lobbyists and nation's largest teacher union to promote gender fluidity, 2 Democrat congressmen read the infamous transgender children's book I Am Jazz on the floor of the House of Representatives last Thursday. So last Thursday, they read a transgender book on the House of
Oh, and actually,
on the
they're
House
doing a
floor.
great music genre.
Why did they waste time doing that?
And then Illinois is fast-tracking their abortion legislation. Just as extreme, if not more extreme, than New York.
I heard it's more extreme than New York.
Yes.
I think we much more expensive.
Illinois' fast-track abortion legislation is so extreme you won't believe it. The leftist caucus of the Illinois General Assembly looked at New York and Virginia and said, hold my beer. As a result, the bill being called the Reproductive Health Act and another piece of legislation that repeals the Parental Notice of Abortion Act have been filed and are making their way through the legislative process. The Reproductive Health Act exists as 2 identical measures in the House and Senate. House Bill 2495 has a hearing with the Human Services Committee at 8:30 on Wednesday, right now, pretty much. The Senate Bill 1942 has not yet been assigned to a substantive subcommittee. The two bills repealing the Parental Notice of Abortion Act are House Bill 2467, which will be heard on the same committee meetings as House Bill 2495 and the Senate Bill 1594. The Reproductive Health Act is 118 pages long and presents so many positions that are problematic for people who are either pro-life or pro-liberty. It is difficult to surmise them all together. The main thrust of the bill can be summed up in one line. A fertilized egg, embryo, or fetus does not have independent rights under the laws of the state. To this end, the bill allows physician assistants to perform abortions and eliminate restrictions on where the procedure can occur. I thought we were getting away from back alleys. Further, the legislation repeals several provisions of the statute that give legal protection for health care workers and providers who refuse to take part in or perform abortion procedures. Like the New York law, this would allow for abortions up to and during birth and decriminalizing the murder of an unborn child, though save physical abuse of the child's pregnant mother. So, Illinois law is going to say that if the father of the child should physically abuse the mother and it kills the unborn child, he's not going to get charged for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've heard that one
You know
too.
what kind of law that is? That's Sharia law.
Protect some politicians.
That's a politician can kill that kid, and then he goes, how come politicians isn't getting his ass in the jam for killing a human being?
Yeah. But no,
If you kill that mother or that baby in that womb, you get charged for murder.
it depends on what
That
state
ain't
you're in.
right.
No,
You know what that is?
that's the backside of the
That was just recently a murder of a
Yeah, but
pregnant
that's a
woman.
Sharia
and
law.
The guy
but
never
it's done-
got
it's not
charged
done
for
as a Sharia
the.
law full.
government can do a lot
But
more I can.
So basically,
Double standards there.
Well, one state can
Now
have
we're talking
abortion,
about-
but the man kills his
That's
wife.
why we call Democrats hypocrites.
So we're talking about
We're not missing.
women's rights, and now you can physically abuse in Illinois.
Sharia law.
Abuse
Sharia law.
Exactly, Sharia
and
law.
the child.
Yeah, because
but you're not
they
going to be
can-
charged with murder for the child.
They can, because they can do, anything they want to the woman.
Now, has that been passed, or is that something?
But it's working on it. Fun to live in Illinois.
Governor's a crook anyway. But.
Hopefully, a lot more people will
That's why.
leave.
That's why my dad always
But
called
then
it the
don't
sixth
take
state.
Also,
Leave the woman.
let's see, I should have.
Now they
Still.
law $15 there, $15 an hour now.
Also,
That's what it is. That's what it is in Illinois now. $15 an
You're
hour.
going to pay $5, $10 for a burger.
one more thing. The Democrats refuse to say "So help me God" while swearing in the House subcommittee.
I heard that one before.
They will not say "So help me God."
So what are they going to replace with?
Well, they just don't include that line in the oath of office.
Yeah.
That came up as the new senators and representatives were taking their positions here
They have
back on the
something
fourth.
It's another way to kick God out of America.
Yeah. Well, they already have in court of law.
A lot of things that she's going to know about. Who's she going to pass that information on to?
Oh, I know.
But they already have a court of law where you don't have to say, so help me God, you can just say, "You saw me promise."
Cortez is her name. She's said that we should not have sought justice for 9/11 attacks. Because she's Muslim.
She's like a senator or something.
Yeah, she got in trouble here the other day. They're about going to be ready to oust her.
But anyhow, they're not saying "So help me God," the Democrats.
Imagine
You
that.
heard about that, didn't you, Ron?
But
They had that lady Muslim. I don't know if she was from Minnesota, one of the governors or one of the elected officials. But anyway, she made some anti-Jewish sentiment against the Jews, and she about got tarred
yeah, it's
feathered.
Cortez. Yeah.
She might be in trouble anyway,
this
from what I
is-
read.
This is
The leader of Israel might be ousted too.
this is kind of interesting. If you are a American citizen and you're living and working abroad, you can still vote in the election here in the United States, as long as you're
by absentee ballot.
By absentee ballot. Okay.
Military and such.
Yeah, military and such. You don't. So anyhow, this is, I think, a first. The Republican Party is having, for citizens outside of the United States, the Republican Party is having their convention in Israel. In 2020. In 2020, all the U.S. citizens that live outside of the United States and are voting Republican are going to have a convention in Israel. Republicans seek first ever convention in Jerusalem ahead of the 2020 elections.
Wow.
Not Tel Aviv.
Help get some more votes in.
The proposed conference will present an unshakable alliance between the U.S. and Israel, says Mark Zell, chairman of the Republicans overseas. For the first time, representatives of the Republican Party living outside the United States plan on convening an international conference in Jerusalem.
Raymond, those are the only ones that are living outside the United States? They're going to convene there?
No, yeah, it's for the people living outside the United States that vote Republican. They're going to have a convention, their own convention, and it's going to be overseas in Jerusalem. The Jerusalem mayor, Moshe Lyon, a letter saying that, among other things, the conference is expected to focus on diplomatic issues and that organizers intend to invite representatives of the Trump administration. This is expected to be the first international conference of its sort and can't think of a better place to hold it than Jerusalem, Zell wrote in a letter. Remember, he's in charge of the Republicans overseas, getting out the vote on that. The proposed conference will present an unshakable alliance with the U.S. and Israel.
The date chosen, organized that way, because of course each person has to send their absentee ballot back to their original state.
Yeah.
Now,
that makes sense.
I suppose the next step would be to give that group a delegate seat in the main convention or something.
The International Convention will come. International Convention of Republicans living outside of the country will come from 62 countries outside of the United States, and the date chosen for the conference will be sometime in October of 2019.
And that's if you want to vote, and then you got to put your name in the hat, be accepted in, or everybody welcome.
No, I think you have to be registered as a Republican somewhere living outside the United States, and you can come to it.
Yeah.
And it'd be people from 62 different countries. And so I thought that's kind of interesting that they're having it in Jerusalem. It'd be interesting.
I think that'd be great too, though. You know?
Well, it depends on who's in charge. Netanyahu should be cool. He might not be premier much longer.
Right. Every year, the U.S. News and Report ranks the countries of the world, and Israel's still stuck on number 8, 8th most powerful country out of 160, 170 somewhere.
Well, China bought Haifa, these are seaport. So they bought some of Israel's land. The major seaport now will be Haifa. China will go through Haifa.
80 countries was ranked out of the 193 United Nations member states, and Israel has been stuck on number 8. Behind the United States, number 1, Russia, China, Germany, United Kingdom, France, Japan, and Saudi Arabia.
Number 8.
Another 911.
Yeah, but I bet you about a third of those countries attacked Israel, they would not be in existence today. Yeah, 10 nations go against Israel and got defeated.
Yes, David.
None.
That sounds like
we're trying to get a synagogue on Temple Mount.
It'll be about 9:30 when I get over there.
A group of Israeli activists are calling on the government to establish a synagogue on the Temple Mount and open it for Jewish prayer. According to Assad Fried, a spokesman for an association of organizations dedicated to Jewish rights on the Temple Mount, more than 50 leaders from across the religious spectrum gathered on Sunday to discuss the situation on the Temple Mount. Jews believe the site, venerated as holy to Judaism, Christianity, and Islam alike, is where the first and second temple used to sit. Riots have continuously erupted at Temple Mount since last month, when thousands of Palestinians stormed the Golden Gate, which had been closed by a court order since 2003. Jerusalem police arrested 2 senior Muslims, banning them from entering the Aqsa Mosque compound for 40 days. So anyhow, the Jews would like to build a synagogue.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Is that slash temple?
Could be.
Oh, I felt that.
You know, I never thought of what if it started out as a synagogue and turned into a temple?
The latest call for a synagogue in the Temple Mount is not the first. 2017 called for the construction of some Jewish guy. Called for the construction of the synagogue. Also in 2014, another group called for. So this is the continuation of religious Jewish groups calling for a synagogue on the Temple Mount. And one last thing, I don't know if you've noticed, but locusts, there's a plague of locusts covering the Middle East. Locusts may arrive in Israel just in time to be served at Passover Seder. A plague of locusts has been creeping across the Middle East. Is set to hit Jerusalem just in time for the Passover holiday, commemorating the original pre-Exodus plague in Egypt. The locusts began swarming the Red Sea coast of Ethiopia and Sudan in December. The desert variety of the insect is always present in these areas, but the population remains limited unless certain conditions are present. Overcrowding changes both their behavior and psychology. They develop bright colors and form huge swarms in which they fly long distances to new pastures. Locusts are not harmful to humans, but swarms of locusts can be seen miles long and containing billions of individual locusts. Swarms are often tens of squares of kilometers in size. The United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, charged with monitoring locust outbreaks, explained that FAO warned that a swarm of just 1 square kilometer eats the same amount of food in one day as 35,000 people.
What they look like then?
Are they being called by some frogs?
What's the locusts look like?
Somewhat
They
like
look
a grasshopper.
like grasshoppers.
Bigger. Frogs will be a little bit more jumpier. That's because a lot of the bird population is probably dropped.
The swarms can travel 93 miles a day, making efforts to control the outbreak even more difficult. Officials warn that further rains in the region could lead to even larger outbreaks. A similar infestation that took place exactly 6 years ago in southern Israel was successfully controlled. In 1915, a locust swarm in then Palestine led to a regional famine. Though most insects are not kosher and unfit for Jewish consumption, there are 4 varieties of insects that are listed as kosher. Some might consider it fitting to dine on locusts during the Passover Seder ceremony.
Yeah.
John the Baptist.
Leviticus 11:22. Yeah, John the Baptist.
John the Baptist banquet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leviticus 11:22. Of these that you may eat the following: locust of every variety, all varieties of bald locusts, crickets are every variety, and all varieties of grasshoppers. The concept is highly appealing since they do not require ritual slaughtering, and according to some opinions, may even be consumed live. The flesh of locusts is carved and can be served with either dairy or meat. So just in time for Passover, the locusts are coming in.
Thank you for the raisin cookies. Those were raisins.
So I don't know if you can chocolate and make it any better.
Hey Ron, like the guy says my hamburger. Yeah, you're like the guy that says, "Boys, those are lovely raisins in the cookie." Oh, those weren't raisins.
Oh man.
Well, they've been delicacies in Africa. There's places like that that do that all the time.
You may or may not have realized that, of course, we just, Ash Wednesday was just yesterday.
Yeah.
And that this year, the Passover and Easter, line up like they did in Jesus' time, because, Passover is on Friday, which means it begins sundown Thursday, and of course Friday is Good Friday, and so on through. It's always fascinated me in church history, the split between the Roman Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox churches was over how to calculate Easter, and neither one of them does it right. I mean, the simple reading of Exodus 12 shows you how to calculate it. And then this year it comes out right because the new moon comes first after the beginning of spring.
Yeah.
10 after 9.
The solstice. And, so you get it. If the first event after the solstice is a full moon, that throws it off, because, as you know, the Jewish months begin with the new moon. That's why in some years Easter is right after the beginning of spring, and Passover isn't for another month.
Yeah.
I got something on abortion and men's rights.
Okay.
I heard on the radio. I haven't seen it any other place. But anyway, I think it was Alabama or something like that. They just passed some abortion. They fine-tuned their abortion and children's rights, kids' rights, fetuses' rights. But anyway, the thing is that whereas Illinois is going to take away the fetuses' rights, this one fella, he got his girlfriend pregnant, and then she said she doesn't want the kid, and he says, I would like the kid. I would like the child. And she went out and got an abortion at 6 weeks term, and he thought about it for 2 months, and then he is suing. He's taken he's been appointed let's see here. It's a different term. It's like caretaker of the estate of the child, the unborn child. And he's suing the abortion clinic for the amount of the estate to fill the estate of the child. So he's going to bankrupt the abortion clinic, and the court has taken it, and it'll probably go to the Supreme Court. But anyway, the thing is that, let's see if I can simplify this, where the child has been given an estate and a legal term or position of being able to access the estate, where it didn't happen. And the biological father is suing, and he's I forgot what it's called, special name for the handler of the estate. But it's the first time, and he figured out how to do it, and it's the first time that it's ever been done. So the unborn child that got killed will have a ton of money from the abortion clinic, because they're culpable in taking the life.
Well,
I think it's Alabama.
No, it just rips it.
And I'm not so sure, but it's I think in Roe versus Wade, and I don't have the story, but in Roe versus Wade, the husband or the father of the child, the father of the child, the lady that had the abortion in Roe versus Wade became a Christian, and she's passed. She passed away. But anyhow, she's gone. But anyhow, the father of the baby has now gotten rights to the baby. The remains, I guess the remains are somewhere. Anyhow, now the father has gotten the remains. He went to court to get the remains of the child.
So he could bury it.
I'm really surprised that they exist.
Why did they keep it? What was the purpose?
I don't know, but apparently they've kept it.
Tied up in court?
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
Wow. This is evidence.
Yeah.
Well, they may need to have the evidence in order to take it to court. They had the Roe versus Wade type of.
Well, the new fetus is now running around in people. You know, livers, things like that. They sell the body parts.
It's called zero.
It's in medication.
Zero.
I mean, not in medications, but in different things that you use.
Cosmetics.
Yeah,
Cosmetics. It's
pop.
Oh yeah,
It's
they're
pop.
actually selling body parts to people.
What other things?
What they're doing is they're
Not
taking.
supposed to be now. But
I think
There
it's
was a whole
livers.
bunch of things that it was on Facebook where it's showing what all they use it for, the parts for.
Stem cells, all kinds of
Stem cell stuff.
When it's your stem cell
Yeah, they love the
you.
stem cells.
Your own stem cells, not a baby, because they've never had anybody.
Yeah, they would make the money off of that.
Never had any.
Imagine that.
Well, it's my understanding they are using umbilical cord.
A few people are using, they're using some, but they were using just
bone marrow,
baby
too.
ones.
That's why God had babies have
Bone marrow and
the umbilical cord tied at 8 days. That's when the full amount of the blood is passing through the body.
it's supposed to be able to heal.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, which reminds me, another thing, fluoride. Pregnant women should not drink fluorinated water because it transfers directly to the baby. But once the baby is born, the breast milk doesn't transfer it. But anyway, the umbilical cord does. The fluoride should never be involved in any water supply.
No. Not unless you're trying to brainwash, like the Soviets used. Soviets used fluoride in the water to help brainwash people.
We've been doing that
Germans
too,
did it
haven't
too.
we?
Is that right? I want to tell you how I feel.
Bigger dose, but
The only way I can say that I'm for abortion is if the woman's life is in danger, or rape, or incest.
should be never done for rape.
I'm not for rape for it.
None of them.
Nope.
No, not for rape either, no.
Nope.
You know, I don't
That's a
know
lie.
pictures of
Has he
people
ever
they have.
he said that in all of his years of practice, not one time was there a woman's life in danger that she needed an abortion.
No.
No, I'm just saying that.
Maybe back when we were using stone tools to do operations, but not now. There's
If that was true,
many ways.
if that was true, we wouldn't have. Yeah, if that was true, we wouldn't have Ethel Waters, because she was conceived by a rape.
One of my
a whole lot more
So
than
was Tom
that.
Brady.
A whole lot more people. Yeah.
One of my friends up in Michigan had a baby from her dad.
Yeah, and,
Yeah, but don't
and
penalize the baby for it.
Somebody can raise that child.
Yeah.
I know of one too.
Yeah.
So
That's
No reason.
somebody can raise that child.
Fact.
Adopt
I'm
that
just
child.
saying though,
You
what
should
would this
just have
baby
it.
cause that lady's dad? Would that baby call that lady's dad
Well, they'll have a name.
grandpa or dad?
We wouldn't probably ever see that child.
Oh,
Because it'd be adopted.
That child would probably be glad to call it either. Doesn't matter as long as he can is alive.
As long as they're not adopted by two guys and two women.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Which
putting a
happens.
lot of that stuff on Facebook.
But usually, most of the time, 99% of the time, the man will get the.
Two women.
In reality TV too. But generally, if you've got the incest going on, and one of the girls has a child, and the mother raises it as her own.
Well, look at the Bible. That already happened in the Bible. Tamar.
One of my friends was a he friend, and he ended up having a sex change to become a she.
Yeah.
And when my friend did that, I never claimed that person as a friend anymore.
Yeah.
First of all, every life comes from God.
That's how I see it.
So if a child is in the womb, regardless of how it is, it was from God.
Yeah.
So we have no right to abortion.
No.
Number two, we were created in either male or female, and we have no right to change that.
That's why I didn't that person as a friend, because I felt like God wanted him to be a he and not a she, and he ended up having that sex change operation.
Well, sorry,
I was against that too.
This is again going back to the first lie that we could become like God and know and determine good and evil. And we obviously can't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously
Imagine that.
Doing a very poor job of that.
We're doing a very poor job.
That concludes this edition of The Last 7 Days. Opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Spreaker or GJRB. Join us next time here on Spreaker for another podcast of The Last 7 Days on GJRB. This has been a GJRB podcast presentation.
This is GJR Broadcasting.